Hello, all you divine souls. Welcome to episode 28 of Playing Hide and Go Seek. Today, we will be having a conversation in real time, in real moments, on being seen, heard, and felt, and claiming your presence. 'Cause it's not always easy, right? It's something that we're always challenged with and experiencing. And I'd like to welcome Jacqueline today. And Alana, would you like to share, Jacqueline, on who you are and what you so lovingly do?
Yes, of course. I'm Jacqueline Kane, and I love helping people get to the root cause of their physical, emotional, and financial pain so that they can turn it around and actually start living their lives pain-free, energized, and have all their creativity and their ability to attract and manifest the life they really desire, which includes opening up to receiving more abundance.
Yes. Woo-hoo. I love that. And I can feel it. And you're so amazing and incredible on everything you do. Thank you, Jacqueline. Alana?
Hello, hello. I'm Lana Heim of Prosperity Alignment. And what I'm really feeling more and more in the world is just how much chaos is out there and distortion. And so I'm here to help you navigate all the energies beneath your business life and money, beneath this chaos, beneath what's going on in the world, and help you really truly connect, source connect to your highest self, your oversoul, to remember who you are and the gifts you're here to share on this planet in this moment.
Thank you, Alana. And I love what you do. And I love how you mentioned the oneness, right? And returning back to, because that's not separate than us, right? It's within us. And like you say, it's a sense of remembering. So it's very, very magical. So thank you both of you for being here today. And I am Sunshine. I am an international medium, soul spiritual life coach, and energy healer. And I have Infinity Soul Connection. And I love what I do. I do a lot of different things. But it's always a lot of times, yes, when we're involved in something, to see clear or to have clarity or to have messaging from that higher self or all your bodies and systems, we do need somebody outside of us, but we do have those gifts within us, and it's a sense of remembering on how Alana had mentioned. So just bringing you back to that wholeness, right? That oneness and knowing that everything that you may desire to access is within you. It's just how to get there, right? A lot of times. And part of that came from that we can feel like the universe is just happening to us, or, everything happens to me. But everything is a reflection, and it's all that mindset. And are we in our minds, or are we dropping down to our soul, into our heart, and manifesting things from there. So welcome, episode 28 today. Jacqueline, did you feel like sharing with us a situation that you didn't feel that you were like seen and heard or felt? And what did you do to change that up? Just a
Oh,
small
my dears.
question.
Small question. Absolutely. And let me share how it showed up for me. Um, and again, I've talked in the past, like first we have to become aware it's happening, right? So I remember back at a time when I had gathered some other business owners and we were hanging out and helping each other work on businesses. And at one of the meetings, I stated something. I specifically said something. And in an email or in a follow-up to that meeting, another friend had referenced the fact that exactly what I said was spoken by somebody else. And it made me realize how often that happens. That's the awareness of how much I was shut down, that people weren't even realizing what I was saying, let alone hearing it or seeing me. And when they did hear something, they said somebody else had said it. So I think up until that point, like I let it go. I wouldn't say anything. I would just constantly let it go. And it probably happened a few times in a row. And I'm like, I got to say something. I got to speak up. I got to get the courage. And that was at a time when I wasn't comfortable speaking up, especially speaking up for me. And so it was kind of scary, but I had to reference back and say, hey, I said that, not this person. And then it was really nice because she sent out like another email referencing, oh, yeah, it was Jackie who said that. And for some people, that may not seem like a big deal, but when it happens over and over again, that you're being kind of dismissed or your ideas are given to somebody else and they're getting acknowledged for it or credit for it, it's kind of frustrating and it makes us shut down even more. So that was the turning point of when I started owning me and owning the ability to speak up. So yeah, there were many times like that. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jacqueline, for sharing. And that does happen, right? A lot of, we'll share something, we'll say it, and everybody's perception is so different. But how many conversations where we share something and then somebody believes it came from somebody else, or sometimes we can start saying something and we can say it many, many times, and then one person says something and it sticks, right? And that's like you had mentioned, like you had to go in, right, and really look at yourself and say, okay, I'm going to speak my truth here. And how much better that probably felt for you, right? But like you say, it was uncomfortable. You were noticing that in different situations it was happening over and over again, right? Like when you really think about it and feel it. Um, so yes, it's wonderful that you shared, and then it all changed around by using your voice and speaking your truth and dropping it down instead of being here, but like really feeling it within yourself. So
Exactly. Yeah.
mhm. So thank you, thank you. Yeah, because we have so many experiences as far as like learning and growing and expanding, and they're gifted from us from other people, right? So that could be relationships, like you say, it could be like on a panel of people or coworkers or business partners. It can be the medical system, right? Like just so many different things where we might be sharing and speaking, and it's just, misconstrued or not heard or not felt, or, um, thinking it came from somewhere else when really it came from inside of you. So thank you, Jacqueline.
Yeah.
Alana?
I've got a whole lifetime of examples, and this is my saga. So the first thing to share is similar to Jacqueline. And 5 years ago, I spoke at a human design conference, and I shared information that nobody else had realized.
Mhm.
And um, the main person, she started telling everybody, and everybody thought it came from her. And I was livid because it that's just how it feels for projectors. We are the ones who inspire. We are the ones who see things others don't see. We share it freely, and then it's blatantly taken from us with no credit, no compensation. And that's my life. And that's what I struggle with even now. And so I reached out to the team and said, look, that was the thing that I shared, and there's nothing being mentioned where it came from. And so she apologized and kind of hosted a free webinar for me, on her platform, and kind of told everyone that this is what happened. And so, I had no fix. I just knew this is wrong. And what usually flows through me is it's not so much about me personally, but I know this will happen to someone else. And this is what I see over and over and over in every system. Everything that I kind of touch is just another example of how I'm not seen, heard, recognized, acknowledged, any of that. And I say this is my life because I have examples from Friday, like 2 days ago, Saturday, like, and the thing with, for me, the first example was just that lack of recognition and acknowledgement of where, this information came from. But on Friday, I went to a free networking small event. There were going to be people there from my old BNI. This is a group I just left recently. And I'm always kind of hesitant, like, how are things going to go? Because I see and feel everything. And the main piece for me is I see people because most people are so distracted, they don't see me. And so it feels like it's me that has to go up to somebody and say hello because they just don't see me. And so the things I've played with over the years is I just notice when I see people and do they see me? And I've kind of stopped giving my energy away to go to them and say, hey. So Friday, I come into this coffee shop. Uh, there's a small group. The host is there, and I kind of just like start to say hi and then say hi to his fiance. And there's two other people, one of which was in my BNI, another, I don't know who this person is. And they're just talking. And I'm just like waiting because all the guy has to do is like turn and just see me. Never once did he look at me. And I was like, yeah, you're not my person. And another woman, right? She literally is passing by and just passes, but just, almost like looks away and just walks past me. And I'm like, not my person. And this is more and more, I just want to speak to where we are in the world. Everything's shifting. And I am not a vibrational match for most people. I just am not. And that's what I still struggle with to recognize. Where am I seen or heard? Not usually, very often, but to know people, right? To really like know them. I would have seen these people every week for a year, and you can't even notice me. And again, it's not personal. It's just you're not my person. You are not a vibrational match. And I don't know what that means for you. I just have to consider what does it mean for me that because I see everything and everyone and remember people's names and want to say hello, it actually drains me. And so, as much as I almost feel like now, am I the one not seeing them? No, I see you. My heart is open to you. You just don't want to receive it. And that's okay, but it still hurts. And so it's these pieces and these moments. And Saturday, I'm out at a fair, and there were a couple people that I saw, and I chose to step to say hello and acknowledge. But it's fascinating the people I see. And one girl was my old boss's daughter, and I saw her and realized, and I was like, and she immediately looked away. Now, this isn't the first time I've seen her and her mom, who was my boss for a decade, right? My last job before quitting and starting my business. And she and her daughter were in a Trader Joe's, and Mike and I were there, and I saw them, and they immediately like and turned away. And that's the part that hurts is I have so many people who do see me and they run. And I don't know why. I do, but I don't. But because it's almost this triggering energy, right? Because I am really going to see you. If you don't want to be seen, that's on you. There's something that you think I'm going to bring out, but it really is fascinating because when we're in these energies, the people who aren't really in it as much, they're afraid of it. They're so afraid that I am going to see them, call them out. And that's not who I am. I have no judgment. I am just here to, again, like Sunshine said, pull us all into this pulse of oneness to really connect and be who we're meant to be. And if people are too afraid of that, right, they are choosing not to be seen and heard. I'm not necessarily choosing that. I am usually like, smiley and like want to just be the love for people. And even for myself, when I grapple with is that's just, it doesn't feel good anymore. It's draining. And I think what I'm realizing is as much as the world has kind of dimmed me and I let it, the parts of me that want to shine and ripple out, it's just not received by most people. And it's exhausting, it's draining. And so I've kind of come back in, and now I get to choose, where do I want my energy to go instead of freely giving it. And that's really hard, when you know, like, oh, I'm here to be the light, I'm here to help people. But when people blatantly don't want it, I don't necessarily need to give it until you're ready. And so there's just so much here to kind of unpack with being seen, being heard. Um, but I probably have an example every day of my life, because it's just, again, are we vibrating together, or am I repelling you? Do you just, I'm just not in your awareness yet. I always say the word yet, just because same thing, if you're going through and you're going to a store and you've met this person. This happens a lot at networking. I remember you. They don't remember me, but they don't remember me yet. And the moments when something shifts, maybe there is a person who's like, oh, you really need to meet her. Then they suddenly see me, and I have to allow myself to, play the role and be like, oh, yeah, nice to meet you. And if we get to a point, usually I will be honest and say, look, we actually met here before. And they'll go, oh my gosh, I don't remember. That's okay. Right. So being seen, being heard, it's two-way street. You have a choice. And as much as other people have a choice, you also can speak up, like Jacqueline said, or like I did with the Human Design Conference, and sharing what's okay and what's not, because that's a whole new way of stretching yourself to step up and truly like speak and share who you are.
Yes, because it does take us out of that comfort zone, which is always like stretching and changing too. And I love, Alana, how you shared and expressed that part of your acceptance is okay, that vibrational level of frequency or energy, because everybody's equal, but everybody in here doing the same thing, but differently, awareness or no awareness. And to speak of too, realizing that some people are actually like, whoo, yeah, but that's too much, right? Like I've felt that all my life, but to actually know that, yeah, some people get scared, right? They get overwhelmed. They think that we're going to know that, oh my goodness, like just before you stepped out of the door, you had to run back to the toilet, or you did a toot in the car, like whatever. And that's people's conditioned self, right? And insecurities. And I'm so excited too that you're realizing the pull, right? Of okay, that drains me, that energy, right? If compared to being able to have choices and conserve that life force and energy on okay, am I and being able to drop it down again to your heart and am I going to be like seen and heard? Are these my people, right? Or just instantly that intuition on like no, instead of like giving and giving, right? And expelling energy, because we never know when our life force is going to be taken, right? Um, so thank you so much, Alana, for your sharing. And like you say, it can be in experiences every single day, right? Like we can zone it to like our personal experiences, like with relationship or with a partner or with children or business wise, right? If we're working for um, our own business or if we're doing somebody else's, right? And going in and co-workers, and there's just so much to it. But there's always lessons there that we can experience for oneself. Um, so I'm going to think of another present situation because it's all always around us, right? And so many things in the world and matrix are breaking down. But just recently, I was with a family member who was in the hospital for a very long time. And so many different nurses involved and doctors and all of this. And the first surgery, there was two surgeries in one. And I remember with who I am, I work with the energies, right? I see the things and, um, you know, them not being themselves and me speaking to that and them saying, oh, well, kind of thing. And so right from that moment after surgery, to to weeks before they came out, voicing to doctors and nurses and saying the same thing over and over again. Can you please do an MRI? There's something off, there's something not right. And nobody listening, right? And my own family thinking, like, oh my goodness, like you're like repetitive, or do you think you're a doctor? Or you can feel those judgments coming in. And finally, a doctor did listen and do an MRI and was really, really surprised on, from the first surgeries, there was infection everywhere where they did the surgery, right? Which was affecting the mind and everything else. But it was such to a detail, like that it was critical because he wasn't showing the signs that normally you would show, but it was intuition and knowing this individual so much and knowing that something was off, right? And it got to that septic point, right, where they'd have to fly him to another hospital. So using your voice and being repetitive sometimes and trusting that gut or your instincts or your spidey senses or your sixth sense or whatever people would like to call it. And sometimes we have to like repeat, or we could just not say anything and think, well, I don't specialize. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've mentioned it 25 times here to 25 different people and nobody's listening. Or we can have that gut instinct. So, and trust in that. And yeah, it's not an easy thing to be like, I think being heard and listened to are two different things, right? To be heard is kind of like a, but to be listened to, you can actually feel that within you, right? That, okay, I've spoke and I'm being listened to, where a lot of times, people may hear the odd thing or it's just going way over somebody's head and not penetrating. And so we always have choices, like what we were talking about. And my situation's a little bit different. I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And it was actually saved somebody's life, right? And I don't put that on me. I put it on the doctor who finally listened and he saved a life. So it can be like something small or it can be something big on, stepping into being seen and heard and felt. And we might feel judgment all around that, right? But the judgment outside of ourselves, we have to know how we feel within. And that's another thing, too, that I was desiring to mention. A lot of times we may desire somebody outside of us to see us and to hear us and to feel us. But if we're not aware, like if we can't look in the mirror and see all this, right? And love all of this and appreciate and be grateful for, a mark on our face, how it got there, the wrinkles. How can we have expectations that somebody can see us if we can't even look in the mirror and see ourselves? Like, how can we put that on somebody else? Right? In a lot of ways. And then as far as like being heard or listened to, are we listening to, are we a good listener? Do we have clarity on what we're sharing? Or what is our intention when we're sharing? Are we trying to get back at somebody because they did this or they did that or they said that? Or is our intention coming from somewhere of like a loving place? Um, and like being felt, if we can't even put as adults on how we are feeling with something, then how do we put the expectations on another person, right? If we can't communicate, I'm really hurt right now, or, you both shared, like, I was the one that had said this, right? And if we can't communicate that or express how we're feeling, then how are other people supposed to, like, if we're not stopping and feeling how we're feeling, or if we're doing it out of that conditioned self, right? Kind of like, I am so, mad right now and frustrated. Um, and if we're not clear, then other people can't feel that off of us, right? So there's just so many moving parts to being seen and heard and felt. And again, Alana, you had mentioned that vibration, frequency, and energy were always changing. And we're not always going to align with people. And it's a huge, huge thing to be able to, how you were sharing, but this isn't my person. And realizing that within yourselves. And some people might think, well, yeah, I don't want to be judgmental of that person. It's not being judgmental. It's about self-love and self-awareness and, just knowing and having that feeling and, moving forward from that. So, Jacqueline, out of your experiences, personal, professional, or however you'd like to share, what would you suggest on people practicing on when it comes to being more seen and heard and felt?
So, what I have discovered is that I feel that what causes us to not be seen is because we're not standing in our own power. We're still in that victimhood. We're still in that maybe meekness, the judgment, um, whatever it is that's preventing us from really standing up and speaking up and making sure that we are heard and listened to, and that we're not being, that we don't sense that feeling that somebody's like dismissing us, because that's the painful thing. And especially Atlanta, like being around the wrong people can definitely make us feel that we're useless, that we're not wanted. And that is so far from the truth, because every person has a gift to share. Every person is valuable. And so I see it in my clients when we're not standing in our power. And I don't want this to be about men or women, but I think that the men have been raised differently. Men have been raised to believe that they're powerful and they can do everything, right? Where women were raised, honey, do you really want to wear that? Honey, it makes you look a little fat, makes you look this way. You know, you're giving off the energy, you're easy, whatever it is, right? And it's, yes, I feel that it's reality. Part of it. It's not for everybody, not, it hasn't affected everybody's life, but I'm pretty sure most of the women who sit in my chair, it's like 70 to 80% of them that they've grown up in this way, that they weren't allowed to be themselves from day one. They've been criticized and judged and became people pleasers. And so when we do that, there's a part of me that really wants to be seen and heard for who I am, but then there's a part of me that's not used to the attention. So I'm going to backtrack. I'm going to make myself small. And then am I fully showing up in my power? No, because there's still a part of me that's not comfortable being seen. And that's what I had to heal inside of me, the parts of me that really didn't want to be seen, that really judged everybody else because they could say something and they got the credit for everything. They didn't have to do anything. And so I think one of the secrets is, am I standing in my power? Am I speaking up in a way that I'm being heard? And then those people kind of fall away when we really own our power. And I think in the healthcare field is one of the biggest areas where as women, we need to speak up more and more. And you reminded me of a case where I've been prone to sinusitis. And so the doctors, they'll press here, press here. Does this hurt? No, not really. And they're like, oh, you don't have sinusitis. And I'm like, can I have an x-ray? Because I was also an x-ray tech. And I know when you take a specific view, it's going to show you fluid in here. Sure enough, but I had to insist that he order me an x-ray. Ordered me the x-ray, came back bilateral sinusitis. He calls me up and he says, "Well, good luck with that." There was no, "You were right. Oh my God, maybe I should do something different because what about the other people who are in that same position? And maybe they don't have pain. Maybe you didn't press enough. Maybe you didn't press in the right spots for me." But to be so laden, like you're wrong and you don't know your body. And he's not the first doctor that's done that to me, right? And now I can laugh it off. And now I just know if you're not listening to me, move on, swipe left. I want somebody else, right? It's not me, it's you. So first you have to get to that place where you're like, I'm speaking up no matter what, and F everybody else. Um, and do it in a right way because you don't want to be an idiot or a hole, right? You want to be conscious and polite and powerful. Um, and then there's just certain techniques I use to help, like EFT or healing systems. There's visualizations, journaling. There's so much. Because it's not to say we'll never dip into our victimhood or go down the rabbit hole, um, but we don't stay there that long. And then we can back to being our powerful self. I hope that answered your question.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I'm so happy to hear that, like you mentioned, the medical system and, you know, that is something that you used to do and you had awareness. Okay, yes, like I know that there's something going on. You might not be able to feel or know, but you're telling me no, but okay, then you're looking for evidence. I already
Mm,
feel it. I know my body. And so like let's take a picture of it and we'll see. But and we're moving forward from that, right? And you knowing your body and being able to be like, okay, yes, well, you need the physical evidence. Okay, we'll get that. But not many people would know that you could have
yeah,
a picture of your sinuses
yeah,
taken, right? And um, yeah, it's just that it's that intuition, it's that knowing of oneself, right? Or knowing somebody well enough. And two, the only person we can really change is ourselves. And once we do change ourselves and do this work, which is forever when we're here, then we can help others heal. We can make our light brighter. And two, right? Like look at everything kind of positive and in a higher consciousness on everything is happening for a reason. And
yeah,
it's just so much is intertwined and we are all so unique, right? Like with that doctor that you mentioned, seems like I'm talking about the sinuses a lot, but yeah, he does his typical stuff. And like you say, hey, maybe there's something more you can add in there. Um, because we are all unique. We don't show the same symptoms or the same things that, look at when children are born, right? They do these charts if you're into all of that. And moms can get thinking, oh my goodness, my child's behind or whatever, but we're all unique divine souls. And thank goodness we're all unique divine. And because it would be pretty boring otherwise. And like you said, Jacqueline, like knowing yourself and speaking of that, right?
yeah,
And letting everything else fall away. But when we're in the middle of it, we have to seek that clarity and tune into our self-love and self-knowing and be like, huh, okay, you're saying no to this, but I'm really feeling something different than
yeah,
that. And empowerment is such a beautiful thing because that's one thing with society. They want us depending on everything outside of ourselves, which takes away our empowerment, which makes us reliable, which makes us think that everything is accessed, but it's ass backwards. Like it's just so distorted and not true. Everything has to come from within and then work out. So thank you, Jacqueline. Yes, there was so many different things shared. So thank you, thank you. and I love your techniques, right? You have a lot of different techniques that you'll go to and use. And with people and clientele that you've seen and experienced and stuff, going back to the generational patterns on what we've been taught as far as male and female roles and, um, you know, as children, like that, those generations that like we might have been told like children are to be seen and not heard, right? Don't air your dirty laundry, that just stays here. Just so many things that we've carried possibly on generation to generation that are not ours at all. So, yes. And you specialize in that, Jacqueline. So thank you. Thank you. Alana?
So it's interesting. Yesterday, my daughter had put on the newer version of Aladdin. And what's different in this Aladdin is there's a song that Jasmine sings that I guess wasn't in the cartoon. And she talks about, I can't be silenced. I won't go speechless. And it's like such a empowering, like powerful song. Just the, I don't know, just the sheer song itself and how it was being sung. It's just powerful, but it speaks to this, like there is such power. And what you were talking about, Jacqueline, it's like we want to take our power back. And yet for me, it's having the awareness of which power is it? Is it your ego or is it your heart? And the emotions come up because your heart is hurting. There's a part of you that is feeling, like deeply feeling. And I know that I experience this a lot. And this is why I feel like I'm not always able to articulate and really be felt and understood or understood the way I'm expressing, because it's so deep. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm feeling. And so having this awareness of just what are the emotions, they're going to have you start to really lean into what's missing, what's wrong, what's not working, to have you then be able to flip it and really take back your power. And I will say that even, there was a moment of leaving that BNI group and kind of talking about it and realizing, well, do I need to really stay through the whole meeting, or could I just like say goodbye and leave? Right. And so then I was grappling with, well, what is my ego? Where is my ego? My ego wanted to stay. My ego is like, what if they have love to give me? And what if they say goodbye and they miss me and whatever? But my heart was like, I am the person who will go to the meeting, the last meeting, because, lots of people just leave, like, I'm done, and they just leave. But I'm the kind of person where my heart is like, you're my people. I love you. I want to have closure. I want to have completion. I want to stay connected and express that. And so there's such a fine line where it really can get entangled, where do you want to be seen and heard or recognized? Was it my ego wounding that I shared this stuff at that conference? Or was it my heart that's like, I really just gave freely and I was left out? And so sometimes I even am going back and forth on, do I speak up? Which part of me is speaking? And which part of me wants to make the point like you were wrong and I was right? And just some of these things happen. So connecting into the emotions, getting deeper into the wound is going to give you so much more clarity in what's going on and what part of your soul is being isolated, hidden away, not able to express. And to me, that then leads you to be able to ask questions from that curious place. Because again, I think you were talking about it, Jacqueline, where we do see somebody and um, there's a sense of like, I need to speak up, but I don't have to command, demand, totally project on someone and point it out, but I could ask the question, right? Where have you been? Or, are you avoiding me? Now that could be a little bit more stinging and calling it out. But this is where, again, if I'm feeling like there's something that's happening, because I really can feel the energy of it, and I already am afraid I'm going to trigger you. Well, I might as well just ask the question genuinely from my heart that is curious, that I do want to know. And if it's something that you can share with me to tell me, am I doing something? Am I being something? Am I saying something you don't like? It would help in some way. And sometimes maybe we don't need that information. And so, yeah, I was just really feeling it's like coming from the heart of the ego is huge to really kind of discern that. Connect into your emotions, acknowledge they're there. Sometimes you don't even have to really go deep and digging into why did this happen. It's just you feel rejected in this moment. You feel abandoned, and you may pair it back to there was a moment at school or when you were a child and something happened and it was very similar. And once you have that awareness, now you can be curious where your heart really wants to lead you, where you can go with pointing things out or asking deeply because you're concerned, you want to share your heart. And again, it's all for interpretation. Sometimes people are still going to misinterpret your intentions, but if they're pure, then that love is going to spread. And to me, that's the big piece of you're not here to be silenced. You're not here to go speechless. You are here to open up and find out what's the pattern, what's going on in this human experience, and then you get to choose and change the pattern.
Beautiful. So much shared. And I love how you were saying like the ego compared to the heart. And we can always do that, the back and the forth, but a lot of times it is more the ego. And feelings and emotions can bring you right back to that center, that soul self. And there's so many, what would you like, breadcrumbs, right? Like if we go through the different like emotions and feelings and stuff, they can lead, like following your heart can lead you to where am I to go at this moment? What am I to speak? And we are given a voice here when we're in the vessel or the temple on earth. We don't have that when we're not there. Like up there, we don't have that capability. So it is beautiful to be able to use that voice and to be able to, how you're describing, Alana, to decipher, okay, is this my ego, my conditioned self, or is this my soul self? And what is my intention in all of that? And it may sound a little bit like overwhelming to go through that and understand all that, but as we do it more and more so, it becomes easier and easier because that's our truth, that's our true essence, that's whom we are. And we are so grateful to have a voice. A lot of people might think they have nothing of value to say, or it might be a position in the family, right? That they've been born into, that they just figure, oh, okay, well, you're the older one, you're the younger one, and I'm here kind of thing, where, you know, the position in the family has a lot to do with everything, but we are all here to share and to illuminate and, share our energy and to be in that oneness. So thank you so much. There's just so much different opportunities. It's what resonates and what aligns with you. And I think I mentioned earlier, right? What is your intention? And like Alana had said, are you in your ego self or are you in your spiritual soul self? And um, just trusting your knowing within yourself. And are you able to be seen, right? A lot of us do not look in the mirror and do not love ourselves and put responsibility on a lot of other people to have us be seen or heard or felt. So we got to be in touch with our own feelings, and we have to be able to see ourselves and to believe in ourselves and feel empowered that way. And we we have to know what's inside of us and allow those feelings and accept them and honor them and move them out so other things can come in. Um, and like you said, Jacqueline, to feel disempowered, right? Compared to empowerment. And we're the only ones we can change ourselves, nobody else. We can't change anybody else. And I wish that there was like a wand we could take out and be like, it's done now. But it does take time. And like you started off, Jacqueline, you said we have to bring it into our own awareness, right? On, okay, I really feel like I'm never listened to. Like I'm just talking and talking, and I might as well be talking to a wall. Well, do you desire that, or would you like to change that up? And conserve your own energy. Like you had mentioned, Alana, am I talking and are these the right people that I'm talking with, right? And that's not judgmental. It's self-awareness and self-love. And are we able to feel what's inside of us and be able to go in and really deeply feel, like Alana had mentioned, because we can't put expectations on somebody else to know, like to feel what we're feeling if we can't even bring it into words or to be able to share it ourselves. A lot of times we like to put stuff on the outside of us because that's how we're conditioned or that's how we know or we're brainwashed, but it always has to come within first. So thank you, thank you, thank you for this wonderful conversation, which goes into deep layers of different things, um, and is something that is continual work, right? And if things just keep showing up until we heal those different parts of us, or we'll be able to go in and feel. So, and yes, that intention of love instead of that intention of the disorder. It's either love or fuckery. So we can always have a choice that way. So thank you so much. Sending lots of love. Oh, I was going to mention too, um, if anybody wanted to mention in the comments of any tools or any practices or access that way, we have things that we can gift. Just put in there heard, and we will hear you, and we will send all those magical things your way. Bye-bye. Just put in the comments.